Good evening and thanks for watching Local 4 News at 10. I'm James Sears. It hasn't been your typical spring. We've had 2 straight weekends of snow in April. That is our top story this evening. It's coming down all over the Quad Cities area. Here's a look at Rock Island. This is the downtown area within the hour. Now the snow seems to be falling slower and wetter than it was doing earlier this evening as we were seeing Kit. You've been keeping tabs on the snow. Last year at this time I remember laying in green lawns wearing shorts. What's going on?
Oh, those were the days, weren't they? Temperatures now are well below average, but it's not uncommon for us to have snow in April. We do think of April as being April showers bringing Mayflowers, but sometimes they bring snowplows. And they have quite a bit. Looking at some of the record high snowfalls in April, 13.5 inches in 1997, 13 inches there in 1982. The latest snow that was measurable we've ever had was May 3rd of 1935. Since 2000, we've had several good, decent snows. And that includes this year so far, we've had 2.7 inches of snow. Looking across the pinpoint Doppler radar, this has been a massive system bringing severe weather all across the deep south and today in the Carolinas. Here in the Quad Cities, though, we're starting to see some more flurries enter the Quad Cities a little bit more directly here. We see those moderate showers around the Quad Cities metro. Those will be clearing out over the next couple of hours. Washington earlier had a report of 1.5 inches of snow. And we had a little bit more rain off towards central Illinois, and that will be clearing out over the next several hours as well. Looking at the forecast for tonight, like I said, we've got light flurries, but they will be gone over the next couple of hours, and by daybreak, completely out of the area. We'll be seeing that wrap up here in the next several hours, but temperatures this morning will be very cold.
All right, Kid, thank you. French President Emmanuel Macron is telling French media tonight he convinced President Donald Trump that it was necessary to stay in Syria long term. That's after Trump told him the U.S. wanted to disengage. That was 10 days ago, before the U.S., U.K., and France launched strikes against targets at 3 sites Friday night. Meanwhile, CBS News' Seth Doane was in the Syrian capital when the missiles struck. Yesterday, he checked out the smoldering rubble of a suspected chemical weapons facility in Damascus. And tonight, he has this report from inside Damascus.
Douma, which had been in rebel hands, is now controlled by Syrian forces. That could make it easier for chemical weapons inspectors who arrived in Damascus Saturday to get to the site of the purported April 7th chemical attack. Those inspectors were set to begin work today. Syria's deputy foreign minister told us they were eager to help get inspectors to the site, though the government still claims the attack never happened. Today on state TV, President Bashar al-Assad appeared as confident as ever, holding meetings with Russian lawmakers. He said $400 billion would be needed to restore Syria's economy and called the coalition missile strikes an act of aggression. That's a sentiment we've heard echoed on the streets. Since the airstrikes, Syrians in government-controlled Damascus have been defiant. They have been attacking and conspiring against Syria for 8 years, the student said. But Syria is strong. In rebel-held parts of the country, they've argued the airstrikes did not go far enough because Assad is still in power. His forces have been making steady gains, knocking out opposition fighters wherever they can. Like in the city of Homs, north of the capital, where the White Helmets released video of victims of artillery shelling on rebel positions.
The Syrian government tells us the next crucial battle here in the capital will be against ISIS, which still controls a pocket of the city. Seth Doane, CBS News, Damascus.
And 2 new polls give a window on President Trump's job approval, at least before U.S. airstrikes took place in Syria. A poll from ABC News and the Washington Post found that 40% of Americans approve of the way the president's handling his job, 56% disapprove. Now, that's slightly more than his 36% approval rating when last measured in January. It's also the highest since his first 100 days in office. Bettendorf Mayor Robert Gallagher will be leaving for Washington, D.C. tomorrow. It's to attend the second meeting of the National Drought Council, managed by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. It's looking to improve drought readiness along the 1,300-mile Mississippi River and how an extreme drought or flood could impact the river's economy and navigation. Gallagher is the only elected official on the council. Others are with federal agencies. The Vineyard Church of Davenport partnered up with Kids Against Hunger Your Quad Cities to help feed starving children around the world and close to home. Dozens of kids and adults assembled, sealed, and packaged about 40,000 meals, which include a formula of dried vegetables, soy protein, rice, and flavoring, along with 21 vitamins and minerals. They'll be shipped to families in Africa in May. Organizers, they're glad to see local groups joining the cause.
We have, in the Quad Cities, have packaged 4 million meals with Kids Against Hunger since 2009. So that just shows you how much of a heart the Quad City area has.
The next packaging event will be on Wednesday in Preston, Iowa. The program operates entirely on volunteers. If you'd like to help out, we have a link at ourquadcities.com. Local 4 News is working with the Quad Cities Chamber of Commerce, and we want you to be a part of it. We're talking about the Quad Cities Big Table. Hundreds of small groups will get together across the Quad Cities next Friday and Saturday for problem-solving discussions. Some members of the Local 4 News team will be leading the discussions, and we want to hear your ideas. You can find out how and where you can get involved online at our website, ourquadcities.com/bigtable. And if you see news happening, forward it to Local 4. Just download the Our Quad Cities app. It's available on Android and Apple devices, and it's free. You can sign up for breaking news notifications, get notifications for breaking news, and also share stories you want to see highlighted right here on Local 4. The snowy and wet day didn't stop many from visiting Nye County Zoo for opening weekend. The zoo is home to about 600 animals and more than 200 species. Some new exhibits made their official debut this weekend, such as the Palace Cat and Green Anaconda. You can find them in the Reptile House and Biodiversity Hall. More exhibits are expected to debut in the next couple weeks. Not all the animals, though, were seen at the zoo today, but there were some furry creatures that did venture outside and didn't mind the cold. The camel among them, covered in the fur. And we saw him outside with the snowflakes going around.
Yeah, occasionally the desert will get a little bit of snow, but that's exceedingly rare, and I'm sure most of the lions, tigers, and bears did not appreciate it very much. Maybe the bears were fine.
A lot inside, like people today. You didn't see too many people out and about, though.
Yeah, the winds were howling around the area quite a bit.